This episode is brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Summer mocktail smoothies are here for a limited time at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Mocktail hour on the pool deck is a sip away. Tropical Smoothie Cafe has over 1,400 locations across the U.S. Their mocktails will be available all summer long.
Allison Rosen is your new best friend. Allison, with her good times never end. Allison Rosen, doing the wavy pencil dance again. Allison's your new best friend.
Hey everyone. Hi. Hello. Welcome to another exciting episode of Allison Rosen is your new best friend. I'm sitting here in my studio with TV writer, showrunner, author, and more, Michael Jamin. Hello.
Hi. Thank you for being my new best friend.
You're welcome. How do you feel like our friendship is going so far?
I think it's going great. I think, I thank you for letting me borrow your car for the weekend. That's nice.
Oh, sure. Yeah. And I helped you move, which I felt like was very...
Yeah.
That's an intense ask, given that I'm a new best friend.
It was fast of you, but okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
And we moved into a walk-up. We moved. Yeah. We live together now, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a policy which I will not help people move.
You've never done that?
I have, but I hit a point where I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore.
But I don't think
I don't get asked anymore.
Yeah, right. You don't get asked anymore. That's the thing.
I think it's an age thing. It's like I remember hitting an age where I realized, oh my God, I could just go to a store and buy a couch. I don't have to find one on the street or go to Salvation Army or get a hand-me-down. Because in college, it was like you never bought furniture. You just you just acquire it somehow.
Yeah, it's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that weird? We grew up. I had a roommate in my senior year of college. I didn't know him. There were four of us in the room. He was new. And we bought like a couch secondhand from like the people before us for $25. And I'm talking to him. His name's Jay. And I'm talking, hey, nice to meet you. We're getting to know each other. We're sitting on the couch. And he reaches into the cushion and he pulls out an Oreo cookie and he dusts it off.
Oh my.
And he puts it in his mouth.
My God.
I go, is that your cookie, Jay? He goes, no. I go, do you have any idea how long it's been there? He goes, no idea, buddy. And then we became best friends.
Bless you. Thank you. Yeah. That is hilarious. Okay. I didn't intend to go in this direction.
Yeah.
However, because I just sneezed and you said, bless you, I have to tell you this just scandalous idea just came up on the podcast. Do you know Jesse Joyce? He's a comedian. He writes for Kimmel. Okay. He feels like we had an opportunity with the generation. He has kids the same age as mine with this generation, but we missed it. And the opportunity was to dispense with saying,
bless you.
Yes.
And replace it with what?
Nothing. Like not even do it at all because he's tired of this, this is social convention that what is the point of it even? And he said that he's gotten a lot of people on board and everyone he's mentioned who's on board is male.
Yeah.
Because my instant reaction, and Tess Barker, who was on that show, her reaction too is like, I like when people say, God bless you, or Gesundheit, or whatever they say. How do you feel?
I read something years ago and that it was because people thought you were possessed by the devil.
Yes,
right.
Exactly. So I think, isn't it like it creates an opening for the devil when you sneeze? That's my understanding. Okay. It's like if they don't say it fast enough, then the devil will, climb into through your nostrils. I don't really know.
From all the pentagrams you have in your house, I would assume you know more than I do about this.
Yes, those are just because I just love a star. I just love it.
Well, I don't know. I think you got to see something, don't you? I mean,
I think so. Well, no, we don't say anything when someone coughs.
No.
So I guess you don't have to.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like a weird line in the sand for your friend to try to draw.
I think so too. There's so many other I don't know, like it actually, like I don't mind it when a stranger says something and I don't feel burdened saying it to someone else. It's actually like a nice little moment between people.
Yeah. I used to not like saying good morning to people, strangers. Like, good morning. And I talked to a therapist. This is years ago. I talked to a therapist about this. She's like, is this what you're worried about? But
is this why you came in?
But now I say good morning to people. I don't. It's not a problem anymore.
Talk me through feeling that it was a problem, and because I'm thinking I don't really say good morning to strangers.
If you're on the street, if you're on the street past someone, you could say hi. But I never like saying good morning.
Why?
I don't know. It felt maybe intimate or something. I don't know. And she didn't know either. But this was this was years ago. So I was using like one of these like as a trainee that I got for like free at the clinic, and she saw me and she didn't know what the hell. Neither of us knew what we were doing, and she was like, I don't know. What do you say to that? How do you help someone when they're coming with that problem? What do you do?
I mean, if it were me, based on my clinical training, what I would want to know is like what's underneath it, and because I feel like it's probably not, and you would know better than I do, but I feel like it's not just about saying good morning. It's something else.
Right. I don't know. I was just so, I remember this was just the time in life I was so lost. And I think I just wanted somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did she help you?
No, but I like the fact that she tried. She was
That's
older.
So nice.
Yeah. She was
an older trainee. Was she making a life change?
Yes. So she was probably 60 or so.
Okay. What had she been doing?
I don't know. Was I supposed to ask?
No, I don't think so. Yeah. I mean, some therapists will disclose and some therapists like don't want you to know anything about them. Yeah. So she probably didn't know yet which one she was going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And so she was putting in her hours in, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is why I was, volunteer.
Right. Have you had other therapists?
Yeah, I've had.
Like ones that aren't in training?
And yeah, I've had a few. You go through stages when you need somebody,
I've been with my current one for a while now, but I guess I've been with the other one.
Is it in person or in Zoom?
It's in person. During the pandemic, we started doing Zoom.
Right.
Yeah, so then I started going in person, and it's close, so I like that. Are you online or are you
I was
in person?
doing online and a Zoom. I didn't really like that, and to be honest, I felt like I know we're going to get into it, but the best therapy I had was writing this book. So
this book here, A Paper Orchestra?
Yeah.
Oh, well, tell me about it.
It was, it's a collection of personal essays. So I wanted to write like David Sedaris years ago. And I was like, because I love what he writes. So I started writing my own. And then just in the process of coming up with, finding stories and memories, I just got a new sense of who I was as a character. And the character was obviously me, but it was like, I'd ask myself questions like, why would this character say this? Why would he care? And it was me. Why? Because
that's
all
so
in
interesting.
the past.
Yeah. So like you're using your training or your experience as a television writer to apply it to your own life. Yeah. But in the question of why would this character say this, were you coming up with your actual motivation? Like, were you coming to see yourself more clearly?
Yeah. I mean, I'd write, in some stories, I'd write it, and I'd answer that with, I'd write it and felt very TV. I go, no, that's what a TV character, why a TV character would do that or say that. But why would I have said that? It didn't feel right.
Like it didn't feel authentic?
Didn't feel authentic, yeah.
It felt clever.
Yeah, or cliche or easy.
Right.
And then I just dig a little deeper, and then I just got a much better sense of who I was. These patterns would emerge. And I'm like, oh my God.
That's so interesting because, okay, so I was listening to you on a different podcast. And you were talking about, so you've been a television writer for like 26 years, is that right?
28 now.
28, okay. Yeah. And then during the pandemic, at some point, you decided you wanted to write a book of personal essays, and you told your wife.
Yeah.
And she said you should, quote, because you'll find yourself.
Right.
And I had made a note of that because I wanted to say, like, were you lost to yourself?
I was in a bad space. Like I was very angry about everything. Everything bothered me. And so I guess that's what she was referring to.
I mean, I have so many questions.
Yeah.
Where are you now?
I'm much more at peace.
Since the book? Because of the book?
I think so. That's why I said when we talk about therapists, like I just need to keep writing stories. It just helps me more.
So what did you learn about yourself?
Well, one of the things I learned is I can't believe how anxious I am as a person. I did not know.
That's so interesting. Yeah, I mean, you definitely, you describe yourself as you were a sensitive and anxious kid.
I never knew that. Like, I just thought it was very normal. We were talking about that last question we were talking about, and I thought everything I did was everybody felt the same way. And
interesting.
Yeah, like I thought everyone is their stomachs in knots all the time.
Or everyone would dump someone because they keep saying "just kidding" after things that aren't jokes. I related to that though.
yeah. That's
So like tightly wound.
Not tightly, just like nerve. Like okay, so now that I figured out I was anxious, like my mom came to visit and she wanted to go to the airport, drop off at the airport. Like she needed to be there like 4 hours ahead. Like, cause she's so worried about the plane and just some delay. And I'm like, it's such, in the past I would have made fun of her, but now I'm like, oh yeah, I get that, Mom. And I get it from you. So we'll get there as early as you want.
Does she acknowledge that she's anxious?
Not really. She doesn't really talk about it. Yeah.
So you think your anxiety comes from growing up in a house where that was modeled?
It might, I don't know if it's modeled or just genetic.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You said that everything made you angry.
Yeah. I was just, I seemed to complain a lot. I was complaining about everything. It's too hot. You know, everything bothered me. And I wanted to move. Just move.
To where?
Doesn't matter.
Now, when was this?
Maybe 6 years ago. It was before the pandemic.
Okay. So you just wanted to leave LA.
Yeah, and that's called the geographic, when you think moving someplace will change your problems. But I still feel like it'll fix all my problems.
How long have you been in LA?
Oh, God, I've been here since 1992. So it's just a long time.
How long have you been thinking about moving?
Since 1992. Well, it's just too hot. Like I drove here and I was like, it's very dry here. And I missed fall immediately. Like, where's the change?
Yeah.
And it's just because I have this connection to my past that I just can't seem to, let go of.
Where would you go if you moved?
Probably Northeast or Northwest, somewhere where you get seasons.
Remind me where you lived before LA.
Oh, well, I grew up in the suburbs of New York City. And then I went to school in New Jersey.
Princeton.
Yeah.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, heard of it.
Yeah. And then you came out here.
Yeah.
And how does your wife feel about potentially moving?
She grew up in Chicago, but she lived here since she was a kid. She'll follow me everywhere. It doesn't really bother her. And, but then our kids are growing up and they're here. So I'm like, crap.
Now, don't you need to be here for your job?
Yes. Right. Yeah. That's another thing. Yeah. Yeah. And I do other things, which I'm working on. So yeah.
Are you when you want to pull a geographic, does that involve leaving your career too?
Well, I'm getting to a point where I'd like to do more of my own. So write and perform stories on my own and travel with it and tour with it. So that's what we're doing. It needs to be on a bigger scale before I can do that more.
So when you say perform stories, are you talking about live shows?
Yeah.
Have you been doing them?
I got one this weekend.
You do?
I got 2 this weekend. I almost missed it. I almost forgot to go to the second one.
So wait, originally we rescheduled per me. The tech rehearsal, was that for your show this weekend?
Yeah.
That's so cool. Where's it going to be? Now, when people hear this, it will have just happened, but just for the sake of my knowing.
But that's okay. Because it's Atwater Village, but I'm doing 2 more in August in Atwater Village, then Dynasty Typewriter in the fall, and then we've got a bunch of cities that we're traveling up to.
So what's the show like?
So I perform my work. So it's a little like David Sedaris, but it's a little more performative. So I'm on stage and I kind of act out my pieces. Yeah.
Is there an audio-visual component? Not that there needs to be.
No.
Do you have a stool?
It's actually, I have a music stand. And so I've been working on a music stand in front of it. And I don't read them. I perform my stories. And it's like, it could be, it's like exhausting.
Explain what you mean by perform your stories.
So like you would think, I have the book in front of me or the pages and look, I could be reading them, but I'm up and out. So I'm just referring to it. But when I'm done, people go, people have said to me, "How did you memorize all that?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm turning the pages. You see me turning, but they don't even know it because I'm performing it out."
I see.
So I was,
but you're not like doing pantomime.
No.
Have you thought of adding it?
No.
People love pantomime.
I have dignity.
I know. I don't know that people respect mimes.
Well, there was one just got fired from SeaWorld, so I guess no. There was a big famous mime. He got fired from SeaWorld after 28 years.
How did I miss this story?
Yeah, it was a big story a couple days ago.
For real?
Yeah. It was like
sobbing. First of all, I didn't know they had mimes.
Oh yeah, when you go in to watch Shamu, the mime is making fun of people as they walk in.
It's been a long time. Yeah, I will. Oh, I will. What does a paper orchestra refer to?
Yeah, that's what my agent said. Why are you calling it a paper orchestra? They wanted me to give it a jokey name. And I was like, but it's not a jokey book. Like, because you're a comedy writer and therefore it has to be silly and wah, wah. And I'm like, I wanted to escape that part of me. I wanted to write something a little closer to literature, even though it's not high literature by any means. But so a paper orchestra refers to one of the lines in the book where I miss the sound of rain on leaves. And so to me, when I hear the sound of rain, it sounds like a paper orchestra. It's like just the drops hitting the leaves.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, that's kind of on one level, that's what the book is. It's a bunch of different stories, and each story hits a different note. This one's about jealousy. This one's about anger, or, shame or whatever. And together, all the notes on a page are a paper orchestra.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. So tell me about your relationship with your daughters.
So they're grown. They just both graduated college.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Wait, so what is their a difference?
Well, they're about a little over a year and a half apart.
Okay.
But one took a year off for the pandemic. So, and so one I'm super close with, super tight, and the other one I'm desperately trying to get closer to. Yeah.
What created the distance?
Me. Yeah. It was just, and I write about it in one of the stories. It's just, I just had a hard time. She reminded me of me.
This is the elder one, right?
Yeah. And she's incredibly talented. She's an artist and she's doing great. But we would push each other's buttons, and I just didn't have the knowledge. I just was so dumb. I was just so fucking dumb. I say in one of the stories, I thought I was raising her. And by correcting her and reprimanding her, I thought I was raising her. I wasn't. I was just pushing her away. So
yeah, you say that she found you judgmental.
Yeah.
Do you know that from her or from your wife?
It was, well, who do I know it from? I just know it from me. I think, I know it from me. I mean, I see myself doing it and saying it.
Have you so I read the story. I read the first story where you talk about it. Do you revisit it in the book?
Oh, do I revisit it? There's a couple stories. There's one called The Ghoul, and the other one's A Plague Upon Your House. So I touched on it twice.
I read The Ghoul.
Okay.
A Plague Upon Your House, does that further the story of you and Roxy?
Yeah, and it explains a little more. That's the last story in the book, and it explains a little bit more. Yeah. A lot of that came to light during the pandemic.
Right. Yeah, because in the description of the book, you say that in the pandemic, you tried to repair your relationship with your daughters.
Yeah.
So what happened?
It was really more about, I was so nervous during the pandemic. Like so I finished the book. I wrote all these stories, and I thought I was done. And then my wife said, "You're missing one." What do you mean? I decide what stories go.
Yeah.
And she goes, "You have to write about the pandemic." And I said, "Well, this was in the middle of the pandemic. I was like, what am I going to say that hasn't been said? We wash our hands, we social distance, we wear masks. What are we going to?" And she thought it was important that I write it just so that 100 years from now, people could read it and think, so that's,
that's
what it's like, what it was like, what it felt like. And so I'm writing the story, and I was a fucking wreck during it. I mean, it's just obviously my anxiety was through the roof. So I was a wreck. But then one day I went for a run. We live in a canyon, and at the end of the hill, at the bottom of the hill, there's a gate, because up at the top of the canyon is a golf course. So the golf course was closed. And ordinarily, I would love to run on this road, but the cars drive so fast. I always, I'm thinking of get a hit. But when they locked the gate, I slid under the gate one day during the pandemic because they closed the golf course, and I'm running.
How low or high is this gate that you can slide under it?
It was just
like
it was uneven. So there's a clearance like this, like a foot. That was just enough. And so I slid under it, and I'm running in the middle of the road. There's no cars, and the weeds are encroaching. And I just remember feeling during the middle of the pandemic, when I was so nervous, I remember feeling safe for the first time.
Wow.
Yeah. Because it was like I was safe. There was no one there.
Yeah.
And I'm running in the middle. I was running on the double yellow line. I get to the top. I sat on the yellow line. And in that moment, I just realized, oh my God, all this damage that I did to my kids, making them so worried, and it was all my fault.
And you feel that? Wait, say more about that.
Well, it's just because I was scaring the shit out of them all the time with everything, not just the pandemic, everything. Just because I'm so worried about everything, and it just in that calm, I felt, the air was clean because there were no cars on the road. If you remember, like.
I remember everyone commenting at the beginning, like, "Oh my God, look how beautiful the air is!" Yeah,
and we remember, like, LA had the cleanest air in the country for like 3 days in a row. What, LA?
Yeah.
And I remember at the top of the hill, I could see the buildings in downtown so clearly and I just felt safe. And I remember breathing the air, taking a deep breath, and it felt different. And I remember thinking, is this going to kill me? Like, is the air so clean? Is it bad for me? Because it felt different.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. And then I kind of broke down.
So are your children anxious?
Yeah. One is for sure. Yeah.
And were you overprotective?
Not
or
really.
fear-mongering, catastrophizing?
Yeah, a little catastrophizing. And there's also that in a combination of just like not letting her, correcting her too much, or she has dumb, weird ideas, and me telling her that they're dumb, weird ideas. Just let her fucking have her weird ideas. It's okay. I wasn't letting her be herself.
Now, can I ask, okay, I'm relating to this because my dad was that way a bit.
And now you have your own kids.
I have my own kids, yeah. I think my dad saw me about to make mistakes, oftentimes in like dating situations.
Like
just
in high school dating?
Even older, because I would ask my parents advice. Like I was probably like, way too enmeshed with them, but just like, I had I liked the wrong guys repeatedly. And I think to my dad, it was obvious that like, this person's not going to give you what you want. Like, why are you, this has red flags all over it. And
he said that to you, and how did you react?
It made it so that instead of going out and figuring things out on my own, it turned into a battle between me and my dad. And I felt like he was clipping my wings. And more than it made me want to go out with this person 1,000 times more.
To prove that your dad's wrong.
Yeah. Because I'm trying to grow up. I was trying so much to like individuate and become my own person. And so I feel like eventually all those lessons he was trying to impart, I learned them, but I had to do it myself.
And you were in your early 20s.
Yes. Maybe late teens, early 20s.
Okay.
And so I think he just threw monkey wrenches, or, he got in the way of my own development by making it so that I was like fighting him, instead of just allowing me to make the mistakes. Like, obviously, if you see your child about to make a mistake that's going to harm them physically or something, like, of course you get involved. But I just think you have to be hands off at a certain point.
Are you close with your dad now?
So my dad passed away in July. And was I close with him? He and I were always very, very close. And then distance kind of grew at a certain point. Maybe around the time, I think I got married and I started having kids of my own, and he couldn't hear very well anymore. And his health wasn't as good. And he was just older and older. And it was like, because of the hearing, it was hard to have the same kind of conversation that we used to, even though he had hearing aids, but like he didn't want to wear them. And so in the last year of his life, I did make an effort to spend more time with him. And I'm so glad I did.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I did, because I think that it made it a lot. It wasn't easy when he died, but it ameliorated some of the like intense grief maybe that I would have felt if I hadn't had that chance to sort of, if I wasn't aware of what was happening as it was happening. Yeah. Okay. So my question for you is the correcting her and the maybe getting involved, if you telling her ideas were wrong or whatever, like what was the motivation for that? Did you think that's what a parent should do?
Yeah. Like I said, I thought I was raising her. I was trying to mold. I was just trying to get her to be a different way. And her anxiety manifested in different ways where it was affecting other people. And I just should have been gentler with her. Yeah.
So do you guys talk about this?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I wrote about it, and she's read it, and I apologize a lot, and she doesn't like that.
Why?
Because it makes her feel that she has to carry the burden of forgiving me. It's like and then she's right about that. She's right about that. That's not her burden. That's my burden.
Like you're looking for validation?
Well, I'm just looking for her to say it's okay. It's like,
and she won't.
well, I mean, she will. I mean, she has, but I still have this need to make up for it, and that's not her. That's just not her problem. It's my problem,
right?
So, and she's right. She's right.
I mean, if my dad had ever come to me and said, and any of the things you're saying, I would have been like, it would have felt so good just to hear that, like, this person sees me and gets it.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
So
right.
Kudos for that. Not a lot of parents can do that. I don't think.
That's what I'm owning up to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were your parents like?
They're still alive, thank God, but they're great, very loving. But and so their kids come first, but the two of them have a very low emotional IQ. They just, and so I grew up.
Yeah.
That's and so when we had problems, it was like, we're not talking about that. So it's just also their generation as well.
Right. You talk about your dad wanting you to do karate.
Yeah. And that's another parenting mistake. I don't think he was trying to. He saw me getting bullied, and he didn't want me to be bullied. And he pushed me into something where I got the shit kicked out of me.
It's funny. My husband has enrolled Elliot in karate, and it's kind of for the same reason. It's this idea of like the world's a dangerous place, and and it's like it's good to know self-defense. Elliot's karate is not aggressive. It's just like learning the moves and things like that. Unlike the experience you had, but I don't know. It's amusing. It's like, is this a dad? Is this what dads do? Do they see kids who are kind of gentle and artistic and decide karate? That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, and I get where he comes from. My father, I get he thought he was looking in my best interest. He didn't want me to, but then you don't know. What do? Do you push the kid down the road that they're more comfortable in, encourage that, or do you try to get them to try new things? What do you do? And I can see wanting you to get your kid to try new things, but why? Like I wanted my daughter to try new things. Well, why not just let her do the artist thing that she wants to do?
It's all these tiny decisions are so hard. Like Elliot's in soccer. And some new kids joined, and one of them is mean. And I don't know the whole story, but like he didn't want to go anymore because of these new, older, shitty kids. And I don't personally care, really. Like I don't love soccer, and you'll do a lot of different sports in your life and try different things. It's also quite expensive. But at the same time, I have this sense of this isn't the reason you should quit. Like it should be more thought out as opposed to just like, I don't like the feeling of this anymore. But then again, that's when you want to quit. But should he learn to persevere, because there's going to be all sorts of assholes in life.
And so whatever decision you help make will be wrong.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, listen. There was like a deus ex machina here because those kids left on their own.
Oh, okay.
So it totally worked out.
So now he enjoys soccer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But I don't know what the right thing. I don't know. And also he takes piano, and now it's boring. He doesn't want to do it anymore. And I don't know. Where did you come down on like letting your kids quit things?
Yeah, we let him quit quite a few things, but
I'm a quitter. I quit a lot of things.
In life?
I mean, I don't know if I'm not a quitter in life, but I've got a list of things that I quit. I quit basketball team. I quit tennis team. I don't like doing stuff I don't like doing.
Right. But now here you are, very entrepreneurial. You're doing things on your own. So it's like, it's not like you're a quitter.
No, I'm not. I guess I say that kind of flippantly. I'm not truly a quitter.
Yeah.
I just mean I've quit some things.
Yeah, but at some point you have, like, how much energy are you going to put in this thing that you tried it, you don't like it.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. So do we let our kids do that?
Yeah, I think so. If it's not for them, like, what's the point? Like, my kids were into gymnastics. They liked it for a while. Neither one of them was going to the Olympics. So you look at them, like the cartwheel needs some work, and so you let them quit. It's okay.
Yeah. Can you do a cartwheel?
I can't even come close. I could do a log roll.
That's where you lay on the ground and roll?
You roll. Yeah.
Okay. Can you do somersault?
Yes, I could do that. 10.
I think that if I tried to do a somersault now as an adult, it would hurt.
Oh, I'd probably throw up. I'd get dizzy. Yeah.
But I remember our PE teacher demonstrated a somersault, and I wasn't impressed.
Oh.
Because it's like, we're all doing somersaults.
Yeah.
But now I look back and I think, all that pressure on her neck, good for
good
her.
for you.
Yeah. I'm sure she could do all sorts of I think she could do a headstand.
Yeah.
I can't. I could never.
No.
So I brought it up, though. You brought it up, but I asked about cartwheels because I have never in my life been able to do a good cartwheel.
No, I couldn't do one either. Yeah.
I can't. My legs, I just can't. I can't.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've thought to myself, should I decide I'm going to learn how to do a cartwheel? And then I think, no.
No. Yeah. Right. That's another. I used to punt. That's not one of the stories. And I have a bag of footballs. And occasionally I go when I punt in high school and college, and then I go up to the same field for the golf courses. And sometimes I kick these balls, and sometimes like, why am I doing this? Like, what's the point? Why am I?
Right.
I'm old now.
Why am I doing this? What's the point?
Yeah. What's the point?
I can feel that way about most anything in life, though. I feel like that's just sort of being sentient, and it's just an existential thought. Do you have that with most everything?
No, like I have a goal. I have a goal with a lot of things that I do. But with that, I was like, okay, if I kick the ball 5 yards farther, then what? I'm not going to the NFL. What's the point?
Right. Do you play any of those New York Times games or like Wordle or Connections or anything like that?
No.
I can begin to feel what's the point with games like that. Like people who are still doing Wordle.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
What's the point?
What's the point? Yeah.
I mean, I understand it's fun for them. But
I feel that
still.
way with golf, but I don't golf. But I feel when I look at people, I go, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
it's so expensive and it's hot.
So you still go to the golf course where you had your moment of zen?
I don't golf, but I run there. Yes.
Do you feel safe there anymore?
I usually run on the trails. I don't usually run on if it's early, and if it's really early, I'll do that run.
See, running on trails would make me feel unsafe
because of the rattlesnakes, and I've seen rattlesnakes there.
And just weirdos in deserted areas.
Oh, no one goes up there. It's too remote.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is scary. That would make me feel scared, though. I'm not saying you should.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So what? There's a story where you were lying during a Hollywood power meeting. You got caught lying. What happened?
That story is so that whenever we go into these meetings, they always ask you, like, I have a writing partner. How did you two meet? And so we tell the same story over and over again. And it's just so fucking,
does it have beats?
We have the same jokes, the same, we know how to tell the story. And I can't do it anymore. I can't do it. And I always assumed that my partner, he's more social and he's better bullshitting than I am. So I always assumed, I never said anything to him about it. Because you have to talk, you have to make the chit chat. But then one day during one of these meetings, someone asked us how we met, and he just went off book, and he starts making up this story. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? And then I join in, and the two of them, we're just fucking lying.
Was it far fetched, or was it
crazy?
just?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. But and then the executive's like, right, really? And then I was like, yeah, absolutely. And then, but we never spoke about it ever again. It was just one of these things where we just connected.
Right.
And after that, like the next time we had a meeting, we went back to the old version. You know,
you and he never talked about it.
Never talked about it. Yeah. It was just this one moment that we had this connection.
Right.
You know,
like if there's something sexual about it.
No, I hope not.
It sounds like a tryst that never gets mentioned afterwards.
Yeah.
You know, I'm realizing we haven't even mentioned your many, many credits.
Yeah.
And someone might be like,
who is this guy?
Yeah.
We should have mentioned that earlier. I jumped in.
No, I should have mentioned it, probably. King of the Hill.
King of the Hill.
Just Shoot Me. Beavis and Butthead. Marin. Tacoma FD. A Fire Department. Is that what the FD is?
Yeah.
Okay. What else? What am I missing?
Wilfred, Marin,
Brickleberry.
Rules of Engagement. We say that? Rules of Engagement.
We didn't say that one.
Out of Practice. I do done a lot of sitcoms.
Okay. And then you're also a showrunner. Which ones were you the showrunner on?
My partner, together, we ran Marin on IFC, Glenn Martin DDS, and Rhett and Link's Buddy System. Yeah.
On YouTube Red.
Yes. When that was a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Hey, whatever happened to YouTube Red?
They had a paywall. They had a paywall. So people, they decided.
Was it Ben Stiller's company, or didn't Ben Stiller have something to do with it?
No.
Okay. Maybe he just had a show on YouTube Red or something.
Know. But they made a paywall which was so fortified, no one got beyond it.
Right. It kept the people out.
Yeah.
What was being Marin's showrunner like?
So this Mark Maron, the comedian, and that was
the podcaster.
Yeah, and yes. Yeah. And so it was terrific. It was a great experience. Very low budget, but it was, because of that, it was a great experience because they left us alone. Mm-hmm. And Mark was, I give him credit because he was so brave. We'd be in the writer's room. It was just the four of us the first year. And he'd pitch us because he wanted to be about his life. Mm-hmm. And so he'd pitch, let's do a story about this. And I remember saying to him a couple of times, that's really personal. Are you sure you want to do it? Like, that's really, and he's like, no, I want to reveal that. And it was so brave of him that when I was writing my book, I was like, fuck, if Mark can do it.
Do you happen to remember an example of what one of those things was?
It was almost anything. It was like even how he met his girlfriend at the time was, she sent the equivalent of a dick pic.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And then she moved in basically.
Right.
So it was everything. Everything in his life was in his relationship with his parents, or whoever he was dating, or just his anger, his issues with being angry.
Yeah.
It was just him it was all true.
Mm-hmm. I'm always impressed with his acting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I you have this assumption, you being me, that comedians do like a comedian version of acting, which is not as good as someone who's actually just an actor.
Some of them, yeah.
But no, he's really good.
But some of them, the thing about comedians, which I like, which I've noticed, because I've worked with a lot of obviously actors and comedians, but sometimes actors won't go for it. They won't do something because it might make them look dumb or vulnerable. But a comedian always goes for the joke. As long as it's funny, they'll do it. Mm-hmm. So
yeah. This is a question you probably get a lot, and I don't know if you have an answer, but what was your favorite of all the shows you were on?
For different reasons. Like Just Shoot Me was my first big break, and I was so excited. And my wife was an actor on the show. I met her on that show. And so that was, the hours were long, but it felt, great. You worked till 2 a.m. You're like, we're doing it. And then Marin.
2 a.m?
Oh, easily sometimes. Yeah. If the story wasn't working. But I'm 20 something years old. That's fine. Uh-huh. Now I'm like, are you kidding me? 8 o'clock, it's lights out.
Right. But it wasn't a toxic work environment or anything.
No, not at all.
Okay. Because you do hear about sets that are like crazy because the, head person or whatever is just like, wants perfection. And...
No, not at all. It was a lot of work. That's all. To make it good. And then Marin was great because, I was the co-showrunner of it, and so that was fun. But most of the experiences I've had been really good. It's only a couple that are, like I don't even want to talk about.
Well, can you explain why you don't want to talk about them though?
There could be a toxic, environment.
Is that usually like one person and it just kind of spreads? It
comes from the leadership. So whoever if the showrunner, it's whatever kind of ship they want to run. Mm-hmm. So,
have you ever left a show because it was toxic?
Yeah. But only because I was able to get another job. Like if I didn't have a job, I was, you're stuck there.
Right. Do you and your writing who is your writing partner?
His name is Sivert Clarum. Yeah.
How's that a real name?
He's Norwegian.
That's how it's a real name.
Yeah. He comes from a long line of Sivert Clarums.
Really?
Oh yeah. Even his kid, like they're all Sivert Clarums.
Is there like the 5th or the 6th or the 49th or anything on there?
No, they don't add numbers. I don't know why. They stopped numbering so many.
Okay.
They went back to 0.
the odometer rolled over. Yeah. Do you guys always get along?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've have had our disagreements over the years, but for the most part, it's we get along great.
Mm-hmm. Does having a writing partner provide a buffer in one of these toxic situations, do you think?
Yeah, because you look at, am I crazy? Or at least you have an ally, So for sure, if you're alone, you can be like, oh my God, what do I do? Who can I trust?
Right. I have heard that working with a married couple can be, some people feel like I've heard that it's like unfair for the other people because it's sort of this alliance that they're on the outside of. And I'm wondering how a writing partnership in a writer's room functions if it's similar.
I would think it's the same thing because like what we've been writing partners for like 30 something years. Like it's like a marriage. It's longer than many marriages. And so I would think the same way. Like I have his back. He's got my back. So too bad. I
mean, I have to ask how you guys met, even though you don't have to give me the general meeting version though.
The short version is I was signed by an agent and it's actually one of the stories in the book, and she blew a lot of smoke up my ass, and I was going to be a showrunner in a couple of years. And I'm like, oh my God. And then when the smoke came out of my ass, I called her assistant. And, what happened to the previous writer? Every year she has a new baby writer that becomes a star. And I was that year. And so I thought, well, what happened to the previous one? And I got his number. And
that's smart.
Yeah. And I call him up and I'm thinking, what show are you working on, sir? And he's like, dude, this is what he said. Dude, I work in a fucking record store. And so we teamed up so that we wouldn't have to compete against each other.
Wait, now why did you call him?
Because I was just curious to, like, I thought maybe, is he working on a show? Like, what show, if he was the previous baby writer who was going to be a star, I wanted to find out what he was on. And
did you want to see your trajectory?
Yeah, and I want to know if I could believe this woman who's blowing smoke.
Right.
And
did you end up staying with her?
No, she dropped us. She dropped us about a year. We teamed up, and then she dropped us together.
Why?
Well, my partner says she did it to save, a quarter on a phone call. Just, team us up and then drop us together.
Right. No. I mean, why'd she drop you?
Oh, because we didn't get staffed. So, that's her job to get us on a staff.
Right.
Right.
And
then we got staffed, I think, a year or two later.
Mm-hmm. What was your first staff job? Just Shoot Me, you said.
It was Just Shoot Me. We sold it in a freelance episode of Lois and Clark before that.
So you are blowing up on social media.
I certainly am.
Tell me. The numbers.
Oh, well.
Or whatever you were going to tell me before I said the numbers.
All of that. So I wrote this book, and then my agent said, well, in this space, personal essays, platform drives acquisition. I said, what does that mean? He said, you need to have a social media following because that's how you market the book. I go, but isn't that what the publisher do? No. What does the publisher do? Not too much. So I was like, all right, well, give me a year. I will get, I don't know how I'll do it, but I will get a big following. And so I just went on TikTok and Instagram every day. I talk about
every day. I didn't realize it was that often.
To talk about my experience in Hollywood or talk about writing or whatever the hell.
Or to show your residual checks.
I do that. People want to know what's in my wallet. The first time I felt so dirty.
Yeah.
But everyone loves it. And so that built a following that I could sell books to. And then that's how I maybe able to tour and do shows. Is like I go on social media and they show up.
Are you still going on every day?
Do I go on probably 5 days a week.
You do lives 5 days a week?
Oh, not lives. Okay. Lives are a lot of work, but it depends. If I'm selling something like tickets, I'll do a live.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you built your following. So if someone said to you, how did you build your following? I guess I'm the one saying that.
Oh,
the social media following.
That's it. I didn't know. And first I went on TikTok and I was like, isn't this the app for the 13-year-old girls who shuffle dance? I mean, am I going to be the creepy guy?
Right.
That everyone's going to be like, what are you doing here, old man? But it turns out there are a lot of people my generation who, share their knowledge. And they're really interesting because they're usually professionals talking about what their work is. And so they can be very interesting.
Yeah.
And so, but I was all of it was like, am I an imposter? What am I doing here? Who cares what I have to say?
Right. But it turns out a lot of people do.
Yeah. On some days, and some days no one gives a shit. You can see the TikTok is a way of keeping your ego in check.
Right. Of all the apps, which one are the social media platforms, the platforms that drive acquisition, which one do you like best?
I think in terms of people actually opening their wallet, I think it's Instagram.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I find as someone who looks at them, I find TikTok aggravates me the least.
It aggravates you the least? Well, it's really no difference between that and Instagram.
Well, Instagram, I mean, I guess if we're talking about the reels, then it's
Right.
just very similar to TikTok.
Right.
But in general, when I'm on Instagram, I'm looking at people that I know and their lives, and it can create this like FOMO or competitiveness in me. Versus TikTok, I'm just being served things that theoretically appeal to me, and I don't know any of these people, and
Yeah.
it's much more. It doesn't put me in a negative headspace in the same way that Instagram can.
But that's because you're following your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you not follow anyone you know?
I don't really see them in the feed. Not that much. You know, it's the same thing. It's people are living very inauthentic lives on Instagram. They're showing their best life, and it's like this just what are you doing? And so they're putting what they ate for lunch, or what their cat's doing, or where they went on vacation.
Right.
And I remember when Facebook first came out, this like 2008 or something, and I remember thinking, someone explained to me what it was. And I go, oh, this is going to be so interesting. All your friends are going to it's going to be like reading their diary. They're just going to tell you what's going on in their life. And because we're friends, they're going to share everything.
Right.
It's fucking not. I was so, I mean, that's why I haven't made any money in technology, because I don't know anybody who uses any. It was the exact opposite. It's all the friends just fucking lying to each other and makes you not like your friends.
Yes.
I thought we were friends.
Yeah.
Why do I hate you?
Facebook is the one that's the most like, I'll go on there, and if I'm in a group, and I'll read, updates in the group or something, not group of friends, but like a, topic group.
Right.
But I don't even want to look at my homepage on there. Like I don't even know what it's almost like listening to voicemails, like I don't know what I'm going to encounter, but it's going to be something that reminds me that I haven't talked to that person in forever. And like, oh my God, look, I think it just makes me feel like I am a bad friend for being out of touch with so many people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to make things better. It didn't.
No. Because all of a sudden I think because we're not meant to see what's happening in the lives of that many people at once.
Yeah.
Stupid technology.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of my daughters is not even on it. She doesn't. Both of them, they barely use social media. I'm like, thank God. I'm the one in the house who's on social media.
How did you get children who don't want to be on social media? Because both of my kids are desperate to have YouTube accounts.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's the whole thing. I was so worried about raising them, and they were raising themselves fine.
Yeah. Where's your wife in all of this?
That's because they get it from her. Because my wife has a very high emotional IQ, so she's like the wise one. So they listen to her, and she's very spiritual and very.
Do you talk to her about your feelings about your relationship with your older daughter?
Yeah, and she helps me a lot. That's one of the stories I write about, is how she helps me deal with them and talk to understand my parents, understand my children.
How did she get this high emotional intelligence? Do her parents have it?
Well, no. She's been in therapy since she was born,
Oh, so it's the opposite.
Yeah, she's really, she's worked hard. Well, she had a very difficult childhood.
Mm-hmm.
So she was abused as a child. So she had to. Oh,
geez.
Yeah. So she got to a point where, and I write about this in the book as well, where she had to, it was either like save herself or just go under.
Mm.
Yeah. So she worked on herself, and she continues to,
Amazing.
Yeah.
Does she still act?
No, but she directs my show.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Do you guys work well? I mean, you must work well together.
Yeah. I mean, she directed the audiobook and directs the show. And so she's really helped me, because I'm not a performer. So she's helped me get into that performer space.
But have you done acting?
A little. Voiceover. Yeah.
On King of the Hill?
Yeah.
Who'd you play?
I played Carolyn, who is, I guess, she was Peggy's friend, but who was a man dressing as a woman.
Mm. And how did you get cast in this role?
Because on table reads, that rehearsal, sometimes the actors wouldn't make it. And so I would step in, all of us would step in for various actors. And I would tend to step in for Kathy and Jimmy, who played Peggy. And it was, I was just imitating Peggy. I was imitating Kathy doing Peggy. But I was pretty good at the imitation. But it was funny because it's still my voice. And so that always got a laugh. And then when I left the King of the Hill, and they brought it back. I was no longer on. We moved on to a different show. A writer named Christy Stratton wrote an episode, and she thought I would be great to play this character because I'm already do a Peggy. So
there you go.
She cast me.
Christy Stratton.
Yeah.
Was she in that documentary about Nickelodeon.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that
I haven't
name.
seen it, but
You
yeah, she was
haven't?
in it. Yeah.
Okay. Are you going to see it?
I should. I
Right.
forgot to.
I'm blanking on the name suddenly, but it was about Dan Schneider and just kind of about the general skeeviness of that era of Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It'll come to me. Okay. I think we should do Just Me or Everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I ponder on something I have thought or done. Is it just me or everyone?
Do you have one?
That was basically what the book is. It's like I just thought it was me. I really thought it was. It was everyone. I thought everyone suffered the same way I did. So that's why I didn't really prepare that answer.
Right.
It's all it's my life.
Well, so my husband had a situation that I think is similar. He started going to therapy, and I think he was diagnosed with dysthymia. Do you know that term? It's like low level depression.
Oh.
And so he started an SSRI, and he came in and he's like, I feel so much better. Da, da, da. Like, is this how normal people feel? And his therapist said yes. And this was news to him because he just assumed everyone kind of wondered, like, what's the point of it all? Yeah. And I think I just assumed that too. I think that I just assumed that maybe it's just that there's a certain type of person who relates to me and listens to my show. But I assume we're all struggling in some way. We all feel that we're not as smooth and cool and confident and grown up as other people our age are. And it's a very young thing to say, but I don't know, right?
But you know what it always makes me think of? Like, there are videos you can see on social media where someone who is colorblind will get those glasses for the first time, and they put it on and they just start sobbing. Because it's like, that's what purple is. Like, they just have no fucking idea.
Right.
And that's what makes me think about, like, this, you're seeing, this is not normal.
Right. So then what is normal?
Yeah, well, there's no normal. We're all just struggling. We're all just, barely making our way. And so when I talk about it and when I write about it in the book, and when I perform it, people say, oh, you're so brave to admit all this. Is like,
so you're a regular Mark Maron.
But it's I guess. But I don't even know, like, what's brave. That you're suffering the same thing. I'm just saying it out loud.
Right. Right. I know that I reveal my own embarrassing or weak stuff. I think because I'm looking to connect and I want to find out, do you feel this way? I mean, that's the whole point of Just Me or Everyone.
Yeah.
Is that what compels you to share it?
I think I wanted to, after being a sitcom writer for 28 years, I wanted to write, like, I don't think sitcom writing is art. I think it's craft, and I always, like I say, I get to write. It's a good job, but I'm writing what someone else wants me to write. I never write what I'm writing, right? I'm writing what I can sell, which is fair. I'm not complaining. But I just wanted to do what would art be? What is art? What would be like to write something that I want to write, but elevated so it feels somewhat closer to art? And then I was like, well, what is art? I had to go these long conversations. Well, what is art? I don't even know. And so that was the intention of just taking something inside me and expressing it in such a way so that I feel heard and understood, and that maybe the people who read it or watch it feel understood as well. And then together we're connecting.
Right.
We feel less alone in the world.
Are you on a show currently?
Well, I was on a show called Tacoma. Then the whole network was canceled.
Oh.
And so
What
now
network was it?
It was True TV. Like, they're basically
True TV's done? I didn't know that.
It's like they're not doing anything there now. I mean, that was Warner Brothers, and they killed everything.
Right.
And so now we're doing a pilot, but yeah.
Are there sitcoms that are on right now that you like?
There's nothing on.
Yeah.
There's very few. There's a handful. So.
Yeah, I'm growing up. I mean, it's probably what everyone says. Like, I loved sitcoms, but I don't think I watch any anymore.
Yeah. What was your favorite growing up?
Facts of Life.
Oh, yeah. Everyone loves Facts of Life.
I mean, not like I do. But
Really?
Yes, I'm like in a class of my own, I think. Yeah, I love Facts of Life. But then sometimes I'll watch Family Ties now, and I'm like, God, that was I liked that one a lot too.
Yep.
So good.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Let's listen to a Just Me or Everyone sent in from a listener. And if you would like to communicate with us, send something in, etc., the number is 323-553-2331. Okay.
Hi, Allison. This is Elissa Wones. I'm calling with a Just Me or Everyone. Does anybody else, when somebody that you know has like a really bad experience, like they get cancer or a sickness or something like that, do you feel a little bit of relief because you think, well, at least that particular thing isn't going to happen to me just based on the odds? Just Me or Everyone. Hope you're well. Love, love, love the show. Bye.
I mean, I really want to say that's everyone, but I don't feel that way. Maybe because I'm a little bit pessimistic, but also because this factoid that I learned, which is if you get hit by lightning, you're statistically more likely to be hit by lightning again than someone else. And I don't know why. It doesn't make sense to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
But that's what I get her question or her statements. Like, when people die, what they die of. And then you go, okay. That's
totally.
I don't drive. I don't ride a motorcycle, so I'm safe. I don't ride a motorcycle or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it is trying to control the uncontrollable. But yeah, I hate when someone dies and there's an article about it, and you're like, just say the cause of death. Just say the cause. And it's like, what did they? Because of course you want to know so you can know if you're safe or not.
Yeah, right.
So do you do this?
I think we all do, and it's such an illusion that we have any control over any of this.
Yeah.
We just want control. Yeah.
I would like it.
Yeah.
I would love it. Okay. We got another one?
Hey, Allison and friends. This is Noah from Seattle, long-time listener here.
Oh.
I've got a JMO for you. Whenever I hear or see the prefix 555 used to note a phone number in film or television, I feel like the fourth wall is completely broken and I'm taken out of the moment. Anyone with me here? Thanks again for doing what you're doing. Again, Noah from Seattle.
I just accept that that's how all phone numbers in films or TV are. And is it because if they put a real number, everyone would be dialing it?
Yeah.
But who does that?
Someone's going to do it. And so
guess.
as a TV writer, yes, I know we're putting in a 555 number. Sorry, there's no other way around it. And I agree, it does take you out. There's other things that take you out of it as well, So
The fact that no one ever says goodbye.
and I did a post on that went viral.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah.
What did you say?
So here's the thing, like when you shoot an episode, you have a running time, let's say it's 22 minutes, and you shoot a little long and you trim it down to 22. And you have to turn it into 22 if that's the running time. You don't get over. And so if you wrote in goodbye, you'd cut it to keep your favorite joke or offer the favorite moment. You would just cut it.
Yeah, I guess it's not really necessary.
Yeah, and then people look, but it takes me out of it. It's like, okay, but so do you really want to hear a goodbye?
Yeah. Also, in TV and movies, people storm out all the time. But in real life, there's not a lot of storming out. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, but also, it's a drama. Like, real life's fucking boring.
Yeah.
Like, so sorry. We have to take some liberties. Make it fun.
Yeah. And I know that's because the one or two times that someone did storm out, it was always like, are you in a soap opera?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
So dramatic.
Yeah, I remember one time some coworker, this is a story I heard, but coworkers went to a restaurant for lunch, and one of them, who was like, she was kind of a dramatic person, got so angry she stormed out and then waited by the car because they had all driven together.
Bravo.
Yeah, I know. Listen, Allison Rosen is your new best friend is supported by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Tropical Smoothie Cafe believes you deserve a little vacay every day, not just once a year. Get on Tropic Time with bright and refreshing smoothies, tropic bowls, wraps, and flatbreads. Summer mocktail smoothies are back, and they're more refreshing than ever, and only here for a limited time. So head in and try the fan favorite Island Punch, Mango Berry Cosmo, or Watermelon Mojito smoothies today. You guys have heard me talk about this. I like the Island Punch smoothie because I am just crazy for guava. So that one is peach, guava, passion fruit, mango, and pineapple. They're all delicious, though. Also, enjoy sunshine by the spoonful with the acai bowl from Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Join Tropical Smoothie Cafe for a pineapple, mango, and watermelon soiree all summer long. Visit one of Tropical Smoothie Cafe's 1,400 plus locations or order online or through their app. And then also, if you follow me on social media, which I would hope you do at this point, I've now done a couple Tropical Smoothie Cafe reels. They're like little skits. I don't think I needed to do a skit. I think I went above and beyond, and I hope they recognize that I'm really giving it my all. I mean, it's got 2 characters. Both of them look like me, although they're very different. You know, we've got outfit changes.
They don't know what they're getting with you.
That's
a deal.
I know, because other people are just posting photos of them at Tropical Smoothie Cafe, and I'm like I'm making cinema.
Yeah,
Michael,
cinema.
It's cinema.
Yeah.
It's elevated to cinema.
Yeah.
Now, for all I know, they prefer just the photos, but I say no. You get 2 gals who look alike but are very different, who love smoothies.
Yeah, 2 of them.
2 of them.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. Let's do Podcast Pals product picks.
Podcast Pals product picks.
What is yours?
I have this water bottle that I sent in to you, which I love. It's
It's a Camelback, right?
Camelback, yeah. But they have different kinds, and the kind that I like has a top that pops off, and you can screw it on. And so you get 2 choices. I want to pop it off, or I just want to screw it on.
Pop it off or screw it on. Do you mean like lift it like a
You can
mouthpiece?
tilt it back.
Oh, I
and
see.
But also you can put it on and you can screw it tightly so it doesn't leak.
Right. What do you do?
What I do is I put it on and then I forget to screw it so it leaks.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
I don't use it correctly, but I love it.
Okay. It's a good water bottle is important, and it's hard to find.
Yeah, and I was going to bring it and I left it at home, and that's why you gave me water. I appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome. Okay. I took questions. Oh, wait, no. What am I saying? I meant to announce to everyone that the Podcast Pals product picks are all gathered over on my store on Amazon. So amazon.com/shop/Allison Rose, and go there, click Podcast Pals product picks, or it might just say guest picks. I don't know. And you can peruse all of them.
You'll like that bottle.
What color do you have?
It's black.
Does it probably comes in a lot of colors, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And now let's take some questions that people sent in on Patreon for you.
Oh, boy.
And yes, I am on Patreon.
Patreon.
Patreon.com/Allison Rosen. There's all sorts of stuff over there. There's bonus episodes of The Friend Zone. I just caught up with fan favorite Jenna Kim Jones, and that's about to go. Well, by the time you hear this, that's up. I do Ask Me Anything. There's love where you can text me. I'll text you back. All sorts of fun stuff. And if you're going to subscribe, do an annual subscription and get 2 months free. Okay.
When we ask, they send them in. They're wondering how you have been. So thanks so much for answering these questions from our fans.
West Anthony says, I've seen several TikTok videos in which people talk about the dire condition of the TV industry. Is there any truth to this, or are they merely dissentious rogues rubbing the poor itch of their opinion? Is dissentious a word?
I guess so.
I mean, I like it. Like, it means they're dissenting. Wow.
Yeah. Good question. I mean, right now the industry is definitely contracting. It's hard to get work right now for a lot of people. But it'll bounce back. I think there's consolidation. A lot of Paramount. They're looking for buyers, so they'll figure things out. But right now it's a little slow for sure.
When do they predict it'll bounce back? Do you know?
The phrase is "stay alive till 25."
Like the beginning,
Yes,
middle,
no
end.
No one knows.
Okay,
and that's just circulating the internet now.
Does it cause people to are you freaking out at all?
Yeah, all of us are, I think.
Okay.
And because first there were the strikes, and then before that there was the pandemic, and so I mean, all of us are just like looking other ways to stay alive till 25.
Right. It's interesting. My therapist used to work in television.
As well.
I don't know. Behind the maybe as an executive or something. I don't know. We haven't really talked about it. I just know it because I saw her LinkedIn or something a long time ago. But whenever I talk to her about how slow podcast ads are right now, she'll be like, it's the whole industry.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I just assume, or you know what? It's probably not because she used to work in it. It's probably because most of her clients are in.
Yeah.
Because of the location.
Yeah.
But yeah, she seems to constantly be talking about how like everything is contracting right now.
Slow. But yeah, when they contract it, it'll expand again. That's what happens. It's a cycle.
God willing.
Yeah.
Seth Eisenberg says, any good stories of stupid executives meddling in your TV writing?
It's one of the stories. I tell many of the stories in the book. So, in my show, I open with that. I was on a show and the scene required to have a love poem. So I took one from the public domain and I put it in the show, and I get a call from the studio. This love poem, it's not working for us. Can you make it better? Because I didn't even write that love poem. Yeah. I took it from the public domain. It was written by a guy named William Shakespeare. So, yeah. Can I make Shakespeare better?
Did you punch it up?
Yeah. We had to find something else. But it's like, yeah, what are you going to do?
Right.
Shakespeare would have gotten notes for sure.
Right. How do you deal with that?
You write something on your own. So that was part of the calling to write a book, was just like, and an audiobook from it was like, I want to do something without the notes. What would that feel like? Mm-hmm. Without being told you're doing it wrong. Like I'll turn in a script, a pilot, anything, doesn't matter. And you'll turn it in on a Monday, and then on, later that afternoon, they'll send you an email. Great. Let's set up a notes call. What if can it be perfect? No. We have notes. We have something we have to say. This is our job. We get paid to say something. Mm-hmm. So you're going to get notes. And so I just what would it feel like to do something on my own without getting notes? Right.
And it sounds like it feels pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I just want to write. I want to do more of it. Yeah. That's why I'm excited about touring and writing more, just because, it's good. It reminds me of the joy you get of writing something,
Do you want to go back on staff?
Yeah. There's, it's a good job, but it doesn't have the pull that this has for me. Mm-hmm. The pull of writing and performing and just doing something so creative that I feel like it's like my best work,
Mm-hmm. Are you going to do another book?
Oh, I've already started writing it.
Really? Yeah. What is it?
It's more of the same, more stories, personal essays.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What else?
I don't know. What else? We're best friends.
I know.
The pauses are natural. With
I know. It's a comfortable kind of silence.
Yeah.
Michael Jamin.
Yeah.
You're the only Jamin I know.
There's not many of us, but it's a biblical name. It's in the Bible. And my father told me that. Because I didn't read it. He said, I said, what's this character, this Jamin like? He goes, he's a character of little significance.
like Polonius. I guess Polonius has more significance, but
he's
still
inconsequential.
Right.
And the family line is continued all the way since.
Michael Jamin, you're a writer of big significance.
I've done some significant writing. How about that?
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Oh, actually, I did want to ask you. Okay. So I follow you, and I remember seeing your residual things and being entertained. Mm-hmm. But then you reached out to me about being my best friend and coming on the show. Yeah. Is that because you saw me following you? How did this happen?
That's a good question. I don't remember. I may have even Googled, top podcasts that talk to people or just in, so I don't remember.
I prefer that. I prefer that. For you did your research and it said you got to go on this one, but I didn't know.
Yeah. I don't remember how I found you. Yeah, but I'm glad I did.
Yeah, I know. Otherwise, some other person would be your best friend, and I don't like the sound of that.
I get very jealous.
Yeah, I don't think that would be great.
Yeah.
I think we've done it.
We did it.
Tell everyone where they can find you, where they can get the book, etc.
Well, you can get the book or the audiobook. You can go to michaeljamin.com/book, and then there are links, and you can either get a signed copy of my website, or you can get it on Amazon or barnesandnoble.com, or you can get it on Apple or the Audible or Spotify, or
All the places
all
one
the
gets
places.
a book these
Yeah.
days.
You know where a book? Yeah, anywhere you can get a book.
Yeah. The library.
Get it at the library. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And then your podcast, which we didn't even talk about. No, we did. No, we didn't. We talked about it
off
off
the
air.
air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a podcast. What's it called?
What the hell is Michael Jamin talking about?
And it's currently not. New episodes are not forthcoming, but there's hundreds of episodes out there.
Yeah.
So if they're like, I need more Jamin straight in my veins.
There's that. You can get the old archive ones are on my Substack. Let's go down my Substack.
Get on your Substack.
Yeah.
And is it just michaeljamin.substack.com?
Yeah, you know what that is.
Yeah. Well, while you're there, get on my Substack, AllisonRosen.substack.com.
I agree. Yeah.
I just wrote a post, my 7 favorite Adam Carolla show guests, and a few I didn't care for. It's a non-exhaustive list, and I suspect you would want to read that, AllisonRosen.substack.com. Yeah, I know. I was like, who isn't going to want to read this? Send.
Yeah. Yeah, good for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I got to be careful though. I don't want to be tawdry.
But you name names.
I named some names.
Yeah. Well, they'll never know unless they
Subscribe.
Yeah,
That's
so.
right. Or someone tells them.
Yeah, no.
Don't tell them.
Yeah.
All right. This has been delightful.
I loved it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah.
It's what best friends do.
Yep.
Listeners, thank you for listening. Oh, if you'd like what you're hearing, make sure you're subscribed, click 5 stars, leave us a review, tell a friend, do all those things. Listeners, thank you for listening. I love you. You matter. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Hey, do you know about the Allison Rosen show?